Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome to my studio where we get together on a regular basis to create beautiful one-of-a-kind pieces. I'm so glad you're here today because we're going to be creating that gorgeous, colorful boho double strand necklace that you saw in the intro. I haven't made one of these in a long time, so I thought it was about time that I did make one. And I'm going to be using the beads that came in the Curated Bead Box for the month of October. Now you're probably wondering what happened to September. What happened was that I went to the beach and I asked Lisa from Curated Bead Box to not send me a box because I knew when I got back I wasn't going to have time. So unfortunately there's no unboxing and there's no project for the month of September. But I do have the October box, so I'm very happy about that. And were you as surprised as I was? Because when I opened up the October box, the colors were definitely not fall. But that's okay because not everybody's experiencing fall. I keep forgetting that I have viewers from all over the world. I know down in Australia they're getting ready for their spring. And if you live in Florida or down in the south somewhere, you're probably wearing summer clothing and jewelry all the time. But anyway guys, if you're not familiar with Curated Bead Box, I'm going to leave some information down below in the description section of this video. I'll also leave a list of all the materials that I'm going to be using in case you don't have the box, so you can do a Google search if you want to find some of the items. Another thing I like to do is to leave timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And don't forget that I always model my necklaces at the end of the video, so stick around for that. And I don't want this video to be too long, and I'm anxious to show you how to make that necklace. So let's go ahead and get started. And here we have Curated Bead Box for the month of October 2023. If you haven't seen the unboxing video, I'll link it down below. This box really surprised me because of the colors. For October, I was expecting fall colors, but these colors are definitely not fall, except for maybe one of the strands, which was like a plum color. And believe it or not, guys, we're going to use a lot of these beads today. I'm going to try to incorporate at least 6 colors in today's necklace, and that's not including the metal components. But I'm going to try to add an earth tone to make it feel more like fall. So let's go over the materials that we're going to be using today. Here are the beads we're going to be using. I'll go over the metals in just a second. It almost looks like a rainbow, doesn't it? Like I said, it's going to be a very colorful necklace. And these are all from the box. These yellow ones and turquoise ones are 8mm in size, and the other 3 are 6mm size beads, and these are size 6/0 seed beads. Now sometimes Curated Bead Box ships out strands according to the availability, and I believe this turquoise one was included in my box because they didn't have a plum colored strand, so yours may be different, or maybe it was a typo on the list of contents. Sometimes that does happen. In any case, you should have all of these colors in your box. Let me just go over them with you. This yellow one is a marble style glass bead. As you can see, it's a very pale yellow. I really like it. And like I said, it's 8mm in size. Let me show you this one. This one's also a marble style glass bead. The beads are a light turquoise color, but then it has a dark turquoise effect. Let me show you this one. This is another marble style effect, but it's called spot marble style because it has little spots, as you can see. But anyway, this one's a purple color, and it does have a little bit of turquoise as well. I don't know if you guys can see that. And it's a 6mm size strand. And this is the same type of effect, but this is in a plum color. And these also have a little bit of turquoise. These are actually crackle beads, and the color is dark turquoise. And believe it or not, they're calling this color turquoise as well, although it doesn't look like turquoise to me. But anyway, like I said, these are size 6/0 seed beads, and they're pretty irregular, but they're perfect for stringing on beading wire. Now, in addition to these beads from the box, we're going to use some other beads. I'm going to be using a few of these, and I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but we're really not going to need that many. And the color of these is actually brown tan matte, but they're called round Picasso beads, and they're by Miyuki, as you can see. Let me show you what else we're going to need. Here's some additional items from the box. We have some bead caps that measure 6mm in size. We have a Locket pendant. It's actually a photo frame Locket pendant. It measures 26mm across. And we have some spacer beads, and these measure 6x4mm. Let me show you the bead caps. As you can see, it's a pretty plain design. And let me show you these spacer beads. These are very unusual because they have like a little flower design there. And then they also have some kind of a design on the side. And let me show you this locket. I was trying to figure out which side the photo should go. And I guess if you're wearing the pendant like this, you would open it up like that and look at your photo. I'm not sure. In any case, you could probably put a photo there as well. Let me show you what else we're going to be needing. We're going to be using some leather cord today, and it's round leather cord. The color is saddle, and I got this spool on Amazon. And what I like about this one is that it doesn't smell too bad. Some of them are pretty strong smelling, and I don't like that. But anyway, this leather cord measures 2 millimeters in diameter. And I also have some end caps here. I got these on Amazon as well. I'm a big Amazon fan, guys. What can I say? I like these because these come with clasps already attached. Some of them have clasps and some don't. The other thing I like about these is that they come in 3 different sizes, 2, 3, and 4 millimeters. And I believe that's the inner diameter. We're going to be using some craft wire today. And I have 2 different gauges. I have 18 gauge and 20 gauge. And as you can see, it's in a silver color. And both of these are tarnish resistant. I'm not particular about the brand. You can use any brand you want. In addition to all of these materials, we're probably going to be using a few jump rings as well. But I'll bring those out later on when we get ready to use them. So now that we've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started by building some beaded components. As you can see, I have very few of the larger beads. Most of the beads are going to be the 6 millimeter size. And I also have my 2 colored seed beads, my spacer beads, and my bead caps. And here I have a piece of 20 gauge wire. And it's a long piece for a reason. Whenever I build beaded components, I like to work with a long piece of wire, or I work directly from the spool. And I do that so that I don't waste a lot of wire. But if you're brand new to jewelry making, you might want to cut yourself small pieces. Although I find this method is just as easy. Now today I'm going to use something called the one-step looper tool. And this one makes loops with a 3 millimeter inner diameter. But you can get them in different sizes. And I want to use it for those of you who have this tool. The funny thing about this tool is that the smaller ones don't make loops that are very round, whereas this one does for some reason. I don't know if it's the shape of the jaws at the top or that little barrel right there. And I know not everybody has this tool, so before I start using it, I'll show you how to make a loop manually. So let's get started. Using flat nose pliers, I'm going to grab the wire at about 1/2 inch down, something like that, kink it, and now using round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the end of the wire between the barrels like this, making sure that it's flush, and I'm simply going to loop it. You want to make sure you close your loop, and you want to make sure that it's centered on the wire, just like that. And now I'm going to load one of these seed beads, and now a bead cap, and now one of these 8 millimeter size beads, another bead cap, and another one of these blue seed beads. And this is what we have. So now I'm going to kink that wire. So I'm going to grab it with my flat nose pliers, line up the bottom loop, kink it. Using some flush cutters, I'm going to cut off the excess, leaving myself 1/2 inch. Using the round nose pliers again, I'm going to grab the end, making sure that it's flush, and loop it. And this is what we have so far. Now I do want to line up my loops. So I'm going to grab this end with these pliers and make sure that they're both facing the same direction. So there's one. And now we're going to use the one-step looper tool. Now if you'll notice, right here there's a little hole. You're going to place your wire through that hole like this. Make sure that it's centered. Squeeze it. Kink it this way so that your loop is centered, and then remove it from the pliers. As you can see, it makes a perfectly round loop. So now I'm going to load 3 of these tan colored seed beads. And once again, I'm going to place it inside my one-step looper tool. Make sure that wire goes through the hole. Bring it all the way down. You want the seed beads to be right up against this jaw right here. And now we're going to simply squeeze it, kink it this way, and remove it. Now it's not a perfect loop, and the reason it's not a perfect loop is because I didn't want to bring those jaws too close to the beads. So what I always end up doing with the second loop is to finish it off with pliers. So I'm going to flatten it first, and now using my round nose pliers, I'm going to go ahead and close that loop. Let me make sure my loops are level. So there's my second beaded component. So let's make another one. Now sometimes if your wire is short, you don't have to go through that hole in the back. You can just place it on top like this. Make sure it's centered. Squeeze it. Kink it a little bit. Close up your loop. This one definitely did not close properly. It happens quite often with a one-step looper. Let's load one of these beads now. Place it inside the one-step looper, go through the hole, push the bead up against the jaws, give it a squeeze, kink your bead away. And like I said, I don't always close it because I don't want to crack that bead. So I end up doing it manually. And there's my third beaded component. And these loops look like they're level, so I'm not going to worry about leveling them. Now I have another piece of wire here, but it's very short. I'm going to see if I can make it work though. I'm going to place it inside the one-step looper in the middle of these two jaws, these two right here. Make sure it's centered. And now give it a squeeze. Kink it. Let me close up this loop. And I'm going to load one of these beads now. As you can see, I don't have a lot of wire left. But let me see if I can make it work. It barely fits in there, so I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. Kink it away. And it did work, so I'm happy about that. Let me close this up. Make sure my loops are level. I think they are actually. So there's another beaded component. So as you can see, this one-step looper tool comes in really handy. It really does. It's a lot quicker to make beaded components, but you do have to manipulate the loops, unfortunately. And so far, I haven't wasted much wire at all. Just these little pieces right here that you see right here on the mat. And that's not a lot of wastage. So let's build another one. I'm going to load another one of these blue seed beads and a bead cap. And this time I'm going to use one of these turquoise beads and another bead cap and another seed bead. I'm going to place it inside the one-step looper tool, going through the hole, pushing it all the way through. And now I'm going to squeeze it. And let me go ahead and close this loop. Let me make sure my loops are level. So far we have 4 different types of beaded components, and we're going to have a total of 7 kinds. So let me show you the other 3 now. Let me go ahead and do them manually. I'm going to grab the wire 1/2 inch down, kink it. With round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the end making sure it's flush, loop it, make sure you close your loop. This time I'm going to load 3 of these. I'm going to grab the wire with my flat nose pliers, line up the bottom loop, kink it, cut off the excess, leaving 1/2 inch. Grab the end, make sure it's flush, loop it. Let me make sure my loops are level. So now let me go ahead and build another one. I'm going to grab one of these now. Sometimes I think doing them manually is a little bit faster, honestly. And now I'm going to show you the last type. This time I'm going to load 3 of these blue ones. And these are the 7 different types of beaded components we're going to use on today's necklace. Now there is an 8th component that I'm going to show you in a few moments, but I'm going to go ahead and create a bunch of these, not too many, and then I'll clean up my workspace and show you how to make those components. And don't worry, because at the end, I'm going to line everything up so you'll see exactly how many I'm going to make of each one. But this necklace is going to have a very random design, and I don't want you to get too caught up on how many of each kind. Plus everybody's going to want different lengths. The best thing to do, guys, is just to be creative and just make sure that your colors are balanced. And as long as you do that, it'll work out just fine. So let me go ahead and create some more, and I'll see you in a few moments. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I've built a bunch of beaded components. There's a total of 28 here, and I've already kind of played around with them a little bit, so I know what I'm doing. As you know from the images in the introduction, my necklace will have 2 tiers. The upper tier will be approximately 9 inches long, and the lower tier will be about 13 inches long, approximately. Obviously, you can make your strands as long as you want to. So basically, I built 7 of these metal ones, 4 of the plum colored ones, the 6mm spot marble style glass beads, 4 of these purple ones as well, so there's a total of 8 altogether, 2 of these turquoise ones, and the reason there's only 2 is because I'm going to have a whole bunch of blue or turquoise beads by the time I'm done, and I didn't want to have too much of that color, because in addition to these, we have 3 other components we're going to build, and I'll show you in just a few moments. But anyway, I have 2 of the large turquoise, 2 of the yellow ones, and then there's 8 total of these seed beads, 3 blue ones, and 5 of the tan colored ones. So now I'm going to arrange them into 2 tiers or 2 strands, and I'm going to try to balance out the colors as much as possible. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll connect everything. Okay, I've arranged all my beaded components, as you can see, and I used all of them except for this one. Sometimes that happens once you arrange everything. Suddenly you realize you may have to either remove or add components. So let me put this one away. Now I am going to have the pendant right here in the middle, but like I said, we're going to build an additional 3 components. We're going to use 2 of them to connect the strands at the top and 1 of them at the bottom for the pendant. So let me show you how to do this. It's very simple. I'm going to open up this loop. And now I'm going to take the next component, slide it in, and close up the loop. And now I'm going to open up this one, take the next one, slide it in, and close up the loop. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to keep going. As you can see, I've connected everything, and I know you can barely see the bottom, but I'll show you the whole thing once we assemble everything. So now we're going to build those 3 beaded connectors, or links. So let me get the materials for that. Here are the materials for the connectors. As you can see, I've already built 2 of them. So now I'm going to show you how to make 1, because we need a total of 3. I have a piece of 18 gauge wire. It measures about 2.5 inches. You're not going to need that much. And I'm only going to need about 8 of these seed beads. But I have a bunch there because I want to be able to pick my seed beads. I don't want to cover the wire entirely because we're going to be connecting the strands to them and the pendant. Plus that's very difficult to do. So to create the ring, I'm going to use these pliers. These are stepped bail making pliers, and there are 3 measurements. I think it's 5, 7, and 10. And we're going to use the one that's 10 millimeters. So let me show you how to do this. I'm going to place the wire between the barrels like this. You want to make sure that it's not sticking out of this end. And then using my thumb, I'm going to press down and turn the plier little by little. Let me move it down a little bit until I get a ring. Just like that. And I'm going to stop right there. And now I'm simply going to snip off the excess. Let me clean up this end. And this is what we have. And now I'm going to open it up a little bit. Now I have a really hard time grabbing small things because I have arthritis. So I'm just going to grab it with these pliers like this. And now with another set, the same kind of plier, I'm going to grab the seed beads and slide them on the best way that I can. Let me slide this big one. It's not easy, guys. It really isn't. I'm not going to lie to you. And now I'm simply going to close it. I've actually done this a number of times in the past, and it really isn't easy. But anyway, that's as good as it's going to get. And that's what it looks like. So there are my 3. Let me put these away. And here are my strands. I have the long one and I have 2 short ones. And by the way, the long one measures 8.5 inches and the short ones measure 5.5 inches each. Now, one thing I did want to mention, guys, whenever you connect strands, you should always look at your loops to make sure they're oriented properly. Because of the way they're connected, some loops are horizontal or parallel to my mat, and the other loops are vertical or perpendicular to the mat. My rule of thumb is that I should always start and end with a vertical facing loop. If you want your strands to connect properly or lay properly on your chest, that's the best way to do it. In other words, you don't want to have this one vertical and this one horizontal, because the strands and the connectors will keep wanting to flip. I don't know if that makes any sense. But if you ever have a necklace that's not sitting properly, that's usually the reason why. And this is very easy to do. You simply take a strand like this and you check each one. And like I said, the first one and the last one need to be vertical. So vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. As you know, this one's horizontal, so that's not going to work. So what I normally do is change one of these 2 loops. I'm going to grab it like this, and I'm going to grab the other one as well, and turn them like this, so they're perpendicular to each other. So now I have 2 loops that are vertical, or perpendicular to the mat, and that's what you want. And I did check these other two, and I have the same issue, so I need to do the same thing. So that's all there is to it. So now I'm going to connect all of these pieces. Let me start over here. I'm going to open up this loop, slide it into the ring like this, and close it. And now I'm going to connect one of these. I'm going to leave myself 2 seed beads in between, like this, and close it. So that side's done. Now let me do this side. Of course, we need to check the loops, so I need to make sure that I straighten these components out. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. And this one has one that's horizontal and the other one that's vertical. So I'm going to connect it. Like this. Close up the loop. You just want to make sure you connect the strand without having it all twisted up. Although at this point it really doesn't matter because you can straighten it out after you connect it, but it will matter once you connect this one. So now let me connect this one. Open up the loop. Leave myself 2 seed beads. Let me see if I can hook it on there. There it is. Close it up. So now I need to do the same thing. I want to make sure that my components aren't all flipped around. Let me open up this loop. Slide this ring into it and close it up. So now comes the critical part. You do want to make sure that everything's laying properly before you connect this strand. So let me just double check my loops. Okay, I need to connect this one this way. So let me open it up. And once again, I'm going to leave myself 2 seed beads. Just like that. And close it up. So now we have to connect the pendant, and here it is. Here's the 5mm size jump ring. Let me open it up. Slide the pendant into it. And now I'm going to slide it in between these seed beads. I have a total of 6 at the bottom. So I'm going to slide it in the middle. So 3 on one side and 3 on the other. Let me see if I can do this without dropping my pendant. There it is. And now let me close it up. So there it is, guys. Let me move my mat up. There's the pendant. There's the top. So now we need to finish the top with some leather. The leather will definitely give it a more fall look. Of course, you could always use artificial leather if that's your preference, but we have to attach some end caps to it first. So let me get the materials for that. And I've arranged it like this for a reason. When I go to connect my leather cord, I want to make sure that it's curved the right way. In other words, you don't want one to be facing one way and the other one to be facing the other way like this. That wouldn't work. Although with time they will straighten out somewhat. Now before I cut these pieces, I took the necklace to the mirror and held it up to my chest to figure out how long I want the pieces to be. So mine are 5 inches long. Yours may be different, depending on how long you want your necklace. I'm going to use GS Hypo Cement Glue, and the reason I'm using this is because these end caps are really thin, and this has a very thin applicator. So let me open it up. Actually, I need to put a piece of paper underneath to protect my mat. I'm going to use this one. As you can see, I've got a rough sketch of my necklace for today. I'm simply going to squeeze some in there. Now this leather cord is barely going to fit in there. So what I normally do is roll it between my fingers like this to thin it out a little bit. And now the other thing we need to check is the orientation of the jump ring. The jump ring is going to be connected this way, vertically. So I need to make sure that my leather cord is curved the right way. Let's see if it'll slide in there. That's good enough. And that's how I'm going to connect the other 3. And I don't want this video to be super long, so I'm going to do it off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've connected the end caps, and I've let the glue dry. And by the way, guys, whenever you're applying glue inside of an end cap, you should let it dry for at least 48 hours. And the reason I'm saying that is because glue takes a lot longer when it's inside an enclosed area, like an end cap, because air doesn't get to it. I hope that makes sense. Trust me, I've done this many times, and that's been my experience. But anyway, like I showed you before, I made sure the jump rings are oriented properly so that they connect to the necklace properly. I followed the exact same rule. They need to be vertical or perpendicular to the mat. So let's go ahead and connect them. I'm going to open up this jump ring. And I'm going to connect it the same way as I connected the pendant. I have 6 seed beads, so I'm going to connect it to the center. So that's 3 on one side and 3 on the other. Let me close up the jump ring. As you can see, I have it in the middle between those 6 seed beads. Let me do the same thing on this side. And there's that one connected. And I wanted to show you something, guys. I have a picture of my kitty cats in there. It's not glued in there just yet. And the reason I haven't glued it is because I want to print it on photo paper and maybe add some Mod Podge on top to protect it. Let me go ahead and arrange the necklace on my mat, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Well, here's the finished necklace, and I know you can't see the whole thing. Let me see if I can move my mat up so you can see the bottom. There's the bottom. And now let me move it down. There's the top. Now I have to admit, I did try to make it look like fall, but these colors are so bright that it looks more like summer to me. But that's okay because I can always wear it next season. And who says you can't wear colorful necklaces in the fall? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Everybody needs a little color to brighten things up during the cold months. And I know some of you live in different parts of the world. or in the southern part of the US like Florida. So if you're down there, you can definitely wear this kind of thing in the winter. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'd like to go ahead and put this necklace on to show you what it looks like. So let me do that and I'll see you in a few moments. Well, what do you think? Do you like this necklace? I really love it. I love the colors. But the best part about it is that I have a picture of my kitty cats inside this Locket pendant. I love my cats. And by the way, Boo Boo's not doing so well this week. I don't know what's happening with him. He's not eating as much. He's still eating a little bit, but not like before. So I've been in touch with my vet and, I keep giving him fluids. That's all I can do. And I keep giving him something called phosphate binder. And I think that helps a little bit. But the truth of the matter is that he has kidney disease and he's 17 years old. So we're just taking it one day at a time and I'm spending as much time as I can with him. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope you can make your own necklace. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.